CCO God Kani Korhado Kudoa Kahrialega Kedoa Aya Gedante Dohi Na Chilag Gawon Histi Udofla San Come Idalena. My name is Roy Buddy Jr. I'm glad to be here today. Um, I am the manager of the Cherokee Language Program for Cherokee Nation. So let's get started. Today, I'll be talking to you about Cherokee language resources. With the pandemic, many of our resources have been focused online now. I will start off with an overview of the recently formed Department of Cherokee Language and the various programs that fall under the umbrella now. Then I will talk about specific Cherokee language programs that you can take advantage of, especially since most of us are spending much more time at home in an effort to be safe. So before diving in, I wanted to start off with this sketch I did of Sequoia, reminding everyone to keep safe during this pandemic. Sequoia says, Alistelati, Alawistodoti, Ayugi, help stop the spread of germs. Well, last fall, Chief Hoskin announced the Durban Filling Language Preservation Act. One of the many provisions of the Act is the formation of a Department of Cherokee Language. In July of this year, that department became a reality, with Howard Payton being named as executive director of the department. What this means is that all the various Cherokee language initiatives within Cherokee Nation now fall under one department. Previously, there were many Cherokee language programs located across many departments within Cherokee Nation. And with all of us being under one umbrella now, we can work better together and have more focus on the revitalization of our language. We try to stay away from saying preserving our language because that implies it's going to be stored away on a shelf like a jar of preservatives. Our goal is to strengthen the language we still have and ensure it does not fade into history. So we will revitalize it. Here you can see the Cherokee Language Department logo for the time being. We'll probably update that to something a bit flashier, hopefully. But as I mentioned, Howard Payton is the director, and here is his contact info if you have any questions about anything. So now, here is where we will dive into the various programs under this new umbrella. I'll provide a brief overview of each one. We'll start off with the Cherokee Language Immersion School. The Cherokee Immersion School is an elementary school that serves students from pre-K to 6th grade. It also has a bridge program for 7th and 8th graders who might possibly attend Sequoia High School or any other public school. The goal of the immersion school is to revitalize the Cherokee language utilizing full immersion in the language. So that means all subjects, from math to science, geography, history, whatever it is, will be taught in the Cherokee language. The school administrator is Wyman Kirk, and the principal is Jeremy Hammer. The contact information for the school is immersion-school@cherokee.org. The phone number is 918-207-4900. There is an application process for the school, so we encourage anyone that's interested in having their child or children attend the school, please get in contact with us to see how that process goes for applying to the school. With your help and support, this is a great way to have children exposed to the language at a young age, and as they grow older, for several years they'll be exposed to it and hopefully retain that and pass it on. So this is a very strong idea and program that we need your help and support with. Next, I'll talk a little bit about the Sequoia High School Language Immersion After School Program. This is an immersion camp aimed at high school students. The idea is, there are classes in Cherokee at the school, but they're not as intense. So with this program, this being taught by some members of the Master Apprentice program, which I'll mention here in a bit, but it's more of an intensive language summer camp too as well. Again, for more information on this, please contact Cora Flute at Cherokee.org. The phone number is 918-316-3104. And obviously, with the pandemic, I believe this we changed up a bit. Maybe some of this will be going online as well, but that we'll have to follow the school guidelines on that. Next, I'll talk about the Cherokee Language Master Apprentice Program. You may have heard a lot about this program. The idea of it is to expose adult Cherokees, learners of the language, to full first language speakers of Cherokee, so master speakers. So it's an adult immersion program where the novice learners are taught by master Cherokee speakers for 40 hours a week. The apprentices in the program receive a weekly stipend, and their applications are available usually from June 1st to October 1st annually. For more information on this, please contact Ryan Mackey at ryan-mackey@cherokee.org. The phone number is 918-207-4995. Again, there is an application process, so the applicants must go through an interview process and talk about what, basically to demonstrate how serious they are about learning the Cherokee language. Up next is we have online Cherokee language classes that have been going on for about 15, 20 years now, honestly. They are taught by Cherokee National Treasure for Language, Mr. Ed Fields. They are free and open to the public, and they are offered various times throughout the year for spring, fall, and summer sessions. I will talk about more of these classes in the next section coming up, but I'm going to just skip ahead to the community Cherokee language classes. So the difference here is, we have online classes with Ed, but we also have community Cherokee language classes. And these normally would be held in person throughout the 14 counties in the Cherokee Nation in Oklahoma here, with some at-large classes every now and then, but mostly we try to push the at-large communities to our online offerings at the moment. But with the pandemic, currently all our Cherokee community classes are on hold, though we are working on a plan to utilize technology where our standard crop of Cherokee language instructors can actually teach their classes in their communities through technology. So it could be through an iPad or some sort of video system here, but that is underway. So we hopefully will have some community classes modified this coming fall in October. Following that, I'll talk about the Cherokee Language Teacher Training Scholarship Program. This program is a full-ride Cherokee Language Scholarship for Northeastern State University students pursuing a degree in Cherokee Language Education and pursuing an Oklahoma Teacher Certificate. Currently only available to Cherokee Nation citizens living within the Cherokee Nation reservation area and the contiguous counties. Applications are usually released in March of each year. This scholarship does provide all tuition, books, fees, room and board, and if you don't live on campus, there is a stipend, the equivalent to a room and board of what would be on campus at the NSU Teleclaw campus. And the goal of the program is to develop certified Cherokee language teachers for schools and the Cherokee Nation itself. We are excited about this program. We've had a few people go through it, and some of them, have gone on to become teachers, and others go on to the Master Apprentice program. So this is definitely for people that are serious about learning Cherokee. And if you're interested in learning more about this, please feel free to get in touch with us. We have a catch-all email for a lot of these, so it's language@cherokee.org. if you email that, we can get you into the right person to talk about with this program. Next, uh, I'll go into the Cherokee Language Technology Program. Cherokee Language Technology, what they do is they provide technical training uh, for anyone that wants to use the syllabary on their digital devices. They also provide digital Cherokee graphics and designs for educational purposes. This program will also start focusing more on Cherokee language apps, games, and software. If you are a user of an iPhone or an Android and you see Cherokee language appearing on that with keyboard and such, that program is the one that's responsible for that. So if you have any questions about that, again, please reach out. We can provide any assistance we need, and if you run a school, we can help set up your school computers to run Cherokee. If you're a business that wants to print Cherokee posters, signage, or whatever, we can help you with that as well. Our team has great knowledge of Cherokee fonts and digital technology, so they are the go-to people for that. Next, we have Cherokee language translation. What the translation department does is, they provide translation for education, health, legal, and other nonprofit services. The program develops and reviews Cherokee language curriculum. And due to the large volume of requests, we do not translate tattoo requests, give Cherokee names, do genealogy, or translate any unsolicited book manuscripts, poetry, screenplays, stage plays, songs, etc. As you can imagine, we get a lot of those kind of requests, and unfortunately, we can't fulfill them all, because if we did, that's all we'd be doing. So the program focuses quite a lot on governmental work as well. But if you do have any legitimate translation needs, we are here to help. We've also helped with families if they're in legal litigation and there's a speaker that doesn't understand some of the legal terminology or things, or medical, if they're a patient and they require a translator, we provide those services as well. So they do quite a variety of things. So our services are here for you if you need a translator or interpreter through the Cherokee Language Translation Program. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention a Cherokee Nation Johnson O'Malley language programming. As I mentioned, we're not with education anymore. We used to be, but we're all under our own language umbrella. But Johnson O'Malley is still with education. But we do collaborate with them quite frequently, and they do a really great program called the Cherokee Teacher Enrichment Program. And that provides Cherokee language programming and content for school teachers. In addition to that, their staff, they're very, very knowledgeable on Cherokee language, history, and culture. And they're often asked to do these programs and presentations for schools and other educational venues. So if you're looking for some in-school instruction, some presentations, class storytellers, whatever it is about Cherokee language, culture, and history, they are a great resource. I would recommend you contact Tanya Bryant at Cherokee.org. And the number is 918-453-5235. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, I was going to get a bit more in depth about the online classes. So this is one of the most popular resources, I think, out there for everyone, especially with the pandemic happening. We have a website called learn.cherokee.org. And if you go to that site, you will see this screen that's up on the screen here. It's the landing page for our Cherokee language classes. You'll see it says Cherokee language courses, CCO Right, Living Things, online Cherokee language classes, and private courses. I will deal with all of this except the private course section because, in addition to language, this site also hosts other types of quizzes and things for like food handlers and all that kind of thing. That's why they're marked as private. It's only for internal use only. But the public facing part is under the Cherokee language courses section. And I will go through each of these sections. So please note to utilize any of this website, you must first register by logging in with an email and creating a free account. I have over here. So if you see in the corner upper right, it says you are not logged in. If you click log in, it'll take you to a page where you can either log in if you have a password already, or if you have not registered, you can register at that page and choose a password and log in there. Then that gives you access to all the rest that you're about to see here. So on this screen, this is the landing page for the CCO Write part. So what CCO Write is, this was a book developed by Durbin Filling, who just recently passed away. You know, he was a very great Cherokee teacher, linguist, speaker, scholar. You know, he was a lot of things to a lot of people, so he's definitely missed. But he designed this book to teach people how to read and write the syllabary. This book is available for download from our site too, and I'll talk a bit about that later too. But for the time being, we digitized this book. So all of the contents that are in the book are here. You can take this course and go through each section, like part 1, 2, and 3, and it includes all the lessons from the book, quizzes, and audio recordings, so you can actually hear Durbin reading this content in Cherokee. So not only is it just a great treasure just to hear him speaking, but it's being spoken by a first language speaker, so you can hear how these sounds are supposed to sound. And keep in mind, you have to successfully complete each part before moving on. So you can't start at part 3. You got to go through 1, 2, and 3 to go through the whole thing. Next, if you go back to the main page and click on Living Things, it will bring you here to this page of the Living Things section. The section is full of vocabulary regarding living things like birds, animals, trees, reptiles, and that kind of thing. Each of these subheadings includes quizzes for each section and audio recordings of the words being pronounced. There are also some posters that go with it, so you can click on it and see the particular animal associated with the word and learn and study on your own there. And again, these are all part of this learn.cherokee.org site, so if you're logged in, you can take these quizzes and repeat the lessons, and it also saves your progress as you go, so if you feel like you're not getting it, you can go back and review it again and again and again. So the next section, again, if you go back to the home page and click on the online Cherokee classes, it will bring you to this section, which is the home page for our online offerings here. So this is the class I mentioned earlier that is taught by Cherokee National Treasurer Ed Fields. I know some of you probably have already taken some of his classes, but if you have not, they are very fun and engaging, and I recommend that you try them out. You can view these class archives anytime you want on the Cherokee Nation YouTube channel. Ed's classes are divided into Cherokee 1, 2, and 3. You can take any of them, but it's recommended that you take them in order. Ed teaches spring and fall sessions, and this year, because of the pandemic, we added the summer session, because normally during the summertime, Ed will do in-person adult immersion classes, but again, because of the pandemic, we're not doing that right now. So if you're a big fan of Ed, you can continue taking his classes online throughout the summer and throughout the fall. But what is happening, we do plan to keep summer classes going even after this pandemic is over. So look forward to that in the coming years. So it will be part of a regular schedule now, due to the popular demand. Again, if you've taken Ed's class, you know that he's a very, very well liked individual. He's got kind of a fan club, if you will. So, also part of this program is if you successfully complete a course, like say you finish Cherokee One, at the end of it there is a quiz, uh, a post test they call it. That goes over the entire course. And if you pass that with a 70% or higher, you get a certificate of completion uh, mailed out to you. However, like a lot of things, because of the pandemic, those have been slowed somewhat. So you may have taken a class in the past and not received a certificate yet. We are working on that, and we apologize for any delay. But as things are with the pandemic, it's changed a lot of our working lives as well as our regular lives. So we appreciate your patience on this. So again, if we go to the main page, on under the section for the online Cherokee language classes, you will also see another option that says Cherokee One on RSU TV. So this class is separate from Ed's class. It is a college level course taught by Wade Blevins, and it is a joint partnership between Rogers State University and Cherokee Nation. If you wish to take this course for college credit, you must enroll in the online course at Rogers State University. However, if you just want to take the course with no credit options, you can enroll in this class through this site and take the class for free. Again, keep in mind, this option does not include any college credit hours. If you want that, you must get in touch with Rogers State University. They have a website dedicated completely to this, but our part here, if you complete it, like I mentioned earlier, for Ed's class, you can get a certificate of completion. But again, these are being delayed at the moment, so please bear with us, and hopefully we'll open up Cherokee One on RSU again for enrollment here pretty soon online. It's currently closed. It closed out in May, so hopefully in September sometime that we can actually open up RSU again on our site. But having said that, if you want to have more details about the RSU class, here's their website. It is rsu.tv/Cherokee. And if you visit that, you will find all the details about the Cherokee One course. The course itself is 48 50-minute episodes. So that's a lot of Cherokee language content. The course was offered online at the university, so students could take that for college credit. After that, the course was broadcast on RSU TV, so they have a public channel here in Northeast Oklahoma. It reaches a big part of the region, but not the entire area. So if you can't view it on TV, or if you I know a lot of you don't live here in Oklahoma, you can actually go to this site here, and they link to the YouTube section or the YouTube channel for RSU that has every single episode on there. So all 48 episodes are there that you can watch at your own leisure. It's a really great set of lessons. It's a bit. It is a college level course, so you go into it. You start from zero, but it goes up pretty quickly. So if you're up for a challenge, this is a great way to start learning Cherokee. Or if you're rusty, maybe you take it and kind of refresh your memory on some things. Wade is a certified teacher, and he brings in several guest speakers that are first language Cherokee speakers, and you can hear a variety of dialects and things in the courses. So again, it is a very great resource, and plans are in the works to do Cherokee 2. This will follow a similar format, another 48 episodes, and we hope to offer the same things here. We can take it for college credit and do the free offering as well if you're not interested in the college credit option. So I know a lot of you also are probably fans of the OCO TV series. And if you are, you have seen that every season of the show has Cherokee language lessons interspersed throughout each episode. Uh, all those segments are collected on the OCO.TV website. So if you visit that site, you can see them broken down by season. So this is what you see on your screen. It's oco.tv/segments/lessons. Uh, so you can watch these as much as you want and learn some language. It's a good resource, especially for kids at home now or just the general public. If you want to learn some useful phrases, this is a good resource for you. Excuse me. So, in addition to that, the Cherokee Nation Cultural Tourism hosts a video called Cherokee Word of the Week. This is they collect them on the YouTube channel. So if you go to YouTube and search for Visit Cherokee Nation, that's the name of our cultural tourism department. You can find Cherokee Word of the Week on there, and it's hosted by Donetta Johnson. She's one of our staff members there, and there are nearly 200 episodes there. So if you need another resource for learning Cherokee words and phrases, that's a fun resource. And again, go to YouTube and search for Visit Cherokee Nation. You'll find a playlist with all these videos there. For several years now, I don't know, guess maybe nearly 20, maybe a bit longer than that, Cherokee Nation has hosted this radio program called Cherokee Voices, Cherokee Sounds. It is currently hosted by Cherokee National Treasure Dennis Sixkiller and is broadcasted weekly on the radio. But like a lot of things, again, the pandemic has. We haven't recorded any new episodes lately, but you can still listen to the show on the radio. And if you're not here locally, or you can't catch the station, there are over 900 episodes of the show that are archived, and you can listen to them on the Cherokee Nation website. If you go to cherokee.org/Cherokee Voices, Cherokee Sounds, you can find all these episodes. And in just recent months, the episodes are being podcast as well. So please check your favorite podcasting platforms to see if it's available on the one you listen to. Most of these episodes are mostly in Cherokee language. There's a few bits in English, like a few announcements and things, and this might have a few things that he says in English, but for the most part, it's entirely in Cherokee language, so you can hear people singing songs. You can hear these really great in-depth interviews with many of our first language Cherokee speakers in the area. And sadly, a lot of them have passed on in recent years, so this is also a good place to just hear some of their voices. If you knew them, if you missed them, you can actually listen to them speaking Cherokee there. This is a good resource not only for speakers who just can sit and listen to the show, but if you're learning Cherokee, you can just sit and listen to the show. Even if you don't understand all of it, it's a good way to hear the sounds of the language being spoken. So as a learner, you can get the idea of how you're supposed to sound, or how some of these sounds that don't exist in English, how they sound in Cherokee. So, again, it's a good resource just all around, but especially if you're learning, just turn it on when you're working. If you have something in the background playing, if you're cleaning the house or whatever it is that you do, you might just have this playing in the background and just get the sounds of the language into your mind. Again, there's over 900 episodes. It's a very, very amazing resource for Cherokee language. So, the Cherokee Nation itself has its own YouTube channel for the government side. So if you go to YouTube, search for Cherokee Nation, and it'll take you to the Cherokee Nation YouTube channel. On that channel, you'll find a lot of things. You'll find videos for council meetings and various press releases and activities and things like that. But there's a playlist for Cherokee language. Under that playlist, you'll find, as I mentioned earlier, some of Ed Fields' Cherokee language classes. You also will find a playlist of Cherokee speakers, and what this is a set of interviews that were conducted with Cherokee speakers over the years. Some of them are conducted by learners in Cherokee, so we have Cherokee learners interviewing Cherokee speakers, and it's great to see those interactions. But this is on the YouTube channel for Cherokee Nation, and it's quite a lot of content. But please note, too, this is a different channel from the Cherokee Nation Cultural Tourism that I mentioned earlier. They're two separate entities, but they are obviously connected by Cherokee Nation, but each one has its own YouTube channel. So, again, if you don't find Cherokee Word of the Week here on the Cherokee Nation part, again, search for Visit Cherokee Nation. That's the tourism part of things. But they're all pretty easy to find, and again, it's full of a lot of language content, so you can hear the language being spoken, which is a very important part of learning language. If you don't hear it spoken, you could be saying things and you could be totally off. Or in a language like Cherokee, which is very tonal, if you don't pronounce the words correctly, you could be saying something else entirely that you do not mean, which can result in some pretty entertaining things sometimes, but sometimes not so entertaining. So just keep that in mind as you're learning. Remember, try your best to sound as best as you can. And granted, as some people who are learning Cherokee, who if Cherokee's not your first language, no matter how hard you try, you might not ever get rid of your first language accent. An example is that if you know someone that speaks Spanish as their first language, if they speak English, you can hear that tinge of the accent in their speaking. So that's what's happening with a lot of second language learners of Cherokee. You can hear that first language accent coming through as they learn how to speak Cherokee. So again, listening to Cherokee being spoken by speakers is a good way to help you work on your accents if you have that issue like I do. So So, having gone through all that, the last few areas we've been looking at have been on YouTube and on the site learn.cherokee.org. So the main Cherokee Nation language web presence is actually language.cherokee.org. Don't confuse it with learn.cherokee.org. Those are two different things, though they are connected. It's language.cherokee.org. So, this website is where all our language resources are pulled together. It's where you can have links to our online classes. It links to various contact info for all our different programs that I talked about earlier. So if you missed that, you can actually come here and go into the Cherokee Language Programs tab you see there and find the contact info for various departments within the language department, or various programs within the language department, I should say. So here you will find the most up-to-date information on Cherokee language programs. It includes class language schedules, a place to submit Cherokee language translation requests, the Cherokee language word list for reference. It's a place to download Cherokee fonts and keyboard inputs. So if you want to type in Cherokee on your Android or your iPhone or your laptop, your iPad, or whatever it is that you want to type in Cherokee on, there's a resource here that tells you how to do that. It has instructions on where to download things, how to install them. So that's just where you come find that. It is also home to downloadable PDFs of Cherokee language content. This ranges from Cherokee language dictionaries. There are posters for like your classroom. There are puzzles, there are maps, there are activity books that have coloring pages in them, and word finds and mazes, and a lot of other items are on this site. All of these materials are free of charge and they can be freely reproduced. All that we ask is if you decide to compile them or give them out or something, is that you leave the Cherokee Nation credit intact. But otherwise, they're made for the public to use and distribute and to use and to learn the language. That's why we made all this. So if you take your time in going through it, there's quite a lot of content on there. As I mentioned, there's a lot of posters. We have some items about clouds and different animals, and there are maps of the U.S., the world, the continents. There's all kinds of things on there that you might not even expect. So if you, I encourage you to come visit the site. Take your time going through all the content. You'll come across something that you definitely can use, I hope. And if you have any suggestions for how we can improve this, again, we have a catch-all email. That's language@cherokee.org. In addition to that, this site also provides a brief overview of the various language programs or our partnerships that we have, such as the Cherokee Language Consortium, which is a joint partnership of Cherokee speakers and language advocates from Cherokee Nation, the United Kituwa Band of Cherokee Indians, and the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians. They normally meet quarterly to discuss, new words and to review curriculum or to suggest programs or just, offer advice to the tribal leadership on what to do for Cherokee language revitalization. And as I keep saying throughout this talk, that has been put on hold for the time being because we're not allowed to meet in person because of the pandemic. But the word list that the consortium made is actually on this website. So if you go under the learning materials section, you'll find their word list. That's separate from the one that just says word list on here. That section is a searchable list of words, so you can type in a word and it brings it up. That's different from the consortium word list. The consortium word list is a list of terms that have been translated in recent years by the consortium group that includes a lot of new terminology. A lot of it was developed for curriculum in the school, so it has a lot of new science terms and things about, classifying animals and kingdoms and a lot of things about technology and that kind of stuff. So look for that word list. It's a very interesting word list because you can kind of see how the language is evolving and how our speakers have to think in different ways to be able to create this new terminology for us. But again, all this is hosted on our language.cherokee.org site, so it is a very, very valuable resource for Cherokee language. So I hope this presentation provided you some insight into the breadth of the Cherokee language programs at Cherokee Nation. Again, here is our catch-all email. I keep saying it, but I want you to remember it. language@cherokee.org. And Mr. Howard Payton is our executive director, so if you need to contact him, again, in the earlier slide, his contact info was up, but it's howard-payton@cherokee.org. And like many of our staff, he's a very passionate Cherokee language advocate, so he can direct you to places and people that can help you out in the best way possible. And again, at this catch-all email, all the messages are received and reviewed and routed to the proper personnel here at the tribe. So with that, I will wrap up this presentation, and I thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, feel free to get in contact with me as well. My contact info is roy-boney@cherokee.org. I will be happy to assist you in any way that I can as well. So with that, Jisquita, I am finished.